Thank you, Zach. Indiana will look to get off the schneid in the bottom of this fifth inning as Melina Wilkeson takes a called strike. 20 combined runs in this ball game here in the bottom half of the fifth inning. Melina Wilkeson has supplied 4 of them. A 3-run homer and a sac fly as she takes low.
And 11 runners left on base for these two teams combined. 6 of those for Indiana, 5 for Penn State. So there's been more out there, which is kind of crazy to think about.
1-1 offering is on the outside corner. Wilkeson will be followed by Taylor Minnick and Avery Parker here against Giselle Hernandez, the sophomore right-hander in the circle. Third pitcher of the day for Penn State. Looking to eat some innings. That one's grounded over towards second, gloved, and thrown to first in time for the out. There's one away here in the fifth.
Giselle Hernandez pitching very well, especially only having 8 2/3 innings under her belt coming into the performance, but it's been all pitch to contact all the time.
Minnick, a big hack. She wanted to do some damage. And this is a game, when you talk about pitch to contact, there have been 3 combined strikeouts in this game. Minnick taking low. There have been a lot of deep counts, too, in this game, but they've all been with the pitchers behind the 8 ball.
And it's led to 10 walks for the Indiana Hoosiers. Haven't done the math for Penn State, but there's been at least 3. So it's kind of been walks galore.
It is indeed 3.
Oh, quick math.
I was never any good at it, so I'm glad you are. 3 balls and 1 strike to Minnick. Avery Parker on deck. Line from Hernandez. Here's the pitch. Minnick trying to check her swing. It's a called strike anyway. From a yes, yes, no from Minnick, and in the end, didn't get benefit of the doubt. Payoff skips in, won't matter, it's ball 4, and once again, Taylor Minnick reaches via the free pass.
And Minnick, I'm frankly surprised that she didn't swing on that 3-1. That's usually the green light pitch for a lot of the big hitters. But she pulled back, was able to draw the walk anyway. And Indiana, it's felt like you said this in the last half inning, but when one team scores, the other is kind of held scoreless in the other half of the same inning. Hoosiers trying to respond.
Parker high and deep to center, back to make the catch is Lido, and Parker is retired. She is hitless today, which has not been said for several weeks. Had a 12-game hit streak coming into today. And Brianna Copeland will step in for Indiana.
And she also had a 14-game on-base streak, which is at jeopardy.
Not the birthday she was hoping for after watching Melina Wilkeson, who shares the same birthday, go yard earlier. It is crazy to think we're the 4th time through the order for both of these teams as Copeland sky high deep into right field. Going back to the track, it is off the wall and kicks away. Rounding third to score is Minnick. Copeland's getting the windmill. The relay throw to the plate is not in time. We're all tied up at 11 on an inside the Parker for Brianna Copeland. This game has it all. Harms, some pressure coming in from Jay, just gets it out in time. Hollick in the center of the park. Barger into Sarver, now coming more centrally. It skips around one. Surrounded by Bulldogs, goes to ground. Ball taken back though by Stewart. Out wide, Elliott tries to find Stewart again. He's been all over the place. That one's into the hands of Edwards.
That was going to be a tough angle. He tried to sneak it in there, but Might not have been the best opportunity to try to take a shot if you're Indiana, but again, you keep putting shots up in the air, you keep putting pressure on Yale's defense, and that's what Yale has failed to do so far today. Not really from a lack of opportunities of trying to take shots, they just haven't had the ability to get down to their attacking third a whole lot tonight.
And it was Seth Stewart, who maybe somewhat of a surprise entrant, again making his season debut. That goes out for a Yale throw in, but he's had quite the work rate since coming in out of the half.
They needed him. Colin Zaduro not in the game tonight, and so other people need to step up. Murador being one of them, and now Seth Stewart getting onto the field to begin the half, getting some good quality minutes out there.
The Hoosiers rotated some in their opener against St. Louis, but didn't see too many extra bench minutes against Notre Dame. A little bit of pressure put on by Murador, but able to get it away is Harris, but one back in the midfield by Jeffis. Squeezes one in, inch perfect to Mahalik. Has an overlap, tries a shot high.
Not a bad look for Tommy Mahalik, just misfired a little bit too far in terms of verticality with the shot, although it would have been right on target had it been a little bit lower. Again, Indiana doing what they do best. Keep putting shots on, keep trying to wear down that defense, but now Yale was something brewing.
After a few nice touches to hold on to the ball, that was Renforth. Again, making his debut, that long ball overcooked. So again, both teams diving into the benches a little bit. It's what the early season's all about, Cruz, just finding out outside of your main guys who can stick and seeing who will be your contributor in the conference slate.
And this is something we've heard, at least from the football side of things for Indiana. No team's ever perfect when they start the year. Again, that's why teams will play the regular season. Soccer's no differently. You got to keep trying to mix and match pieces, see what works where, who works with who. And then eventually you come to a final form later on in the season, and that's what you put out on the field when the postseason comes around, when it matters most.
All went out of play. And certainly you can see that evidence with both of these teams from last year. That throw in out wide. Chance now for Brayboy. Pressure coming from Elliott, who, after going between his legs, comes up with the ball and squeezes himself away, looking for Stewart. And it goes back to the Bulldogs. But the Bulldogs varied things up a lot last year. Nobody really seemed to, they had guys who held the fort, but they had a lot of rotation around as that goes out of play. It'll be a Hoosier throw in. And again, Jansen Miller might be the best example for Indiana, who had a couple guys like that, who comes in and late in the year, he's still able to force the issue.
And part of it is finding roles for people. Finding roles is key. There's a lot of depth that needs to be fulfilled in case of injuries. Like Yale has had a couple of injuries so far this year. Obviously, Colin Zaduro out for Indiana. You have to be ready. It's a next man up mentality, because at the off chance that a player does go down with injury, you have to have people ready to take those spots should they be needed.
Quick free kick in the back line for Indiana. But yes, back to what you said about Yale. They had a lot of injuries, especially coming from that freshman class. Long ball forward, searching for Stewart. He's there. Orson for company. Slows it up nicely. Cutting inside to Jeffis. Has support from McDonald. Opts to find him around the referee. And certainly when you have the quick slate of games like Yale has had, especially Friday, Sunday, that's where your depth gets tested even more, especially when you don't have the full complement that you wish you had.
Yeah, we had a conversation about that as well. What would that look like with Yale?
Here's Sarver charging into the byline, puts it in Mahalik! He makes it two! Mahalik back to form here in 2024. His third goal this season, his second on the game, and the Hoosiers double their advantage. Well, 6-6 into the first timeout between Indiana and Purdue. Both teams shooting 3 of 7 overall. It'll be Indiana basketball on their own baseline. Hasn't had the same offensive intensity, perhaps, that we would have thought, at least coming out of the gates. Galloway to inbound. He'll find Leal outside the arc. Now handoff from Renew to Galloway. Kicks out 3 on the left wing. Goody, good!
That'll be huge to get him going too, Alex.
He's really turned himself on, even though it's been during this losing streak for Indiana. He's been one of the few bright spots that the Hoosiers have consistently had.
Left wing Lawyer. Cox, he'll try one of his own from the right wing. That one's off the front iron and out. Renew clears. Goody, hand off to Rice here on the near side on the left wing. Feeds into Renew, a nice little pass. He goes one more to Leal, fighting under the hoop and gets the reverse.
There you go, coming out of the timeout. Indiana not looking too bad right now, Alex, but you have to dig your heels in on the defensive end, so that way you can continue to extend this lead, but a good start.
11-6 Indiana, just under 15. Going up is Smith, and he is fouled. That was Goody, who kept his hands right up in the air afterwards, pleading his innocence, but that'll be his first.
I think he did a good job of keeping himself vertical. I'll have to take another look at the replay here in a minute. I mean, maybe he bumped him off of his spot a little bit, didn't give him room to land, but still, nonetheless, you send one of the best free throw shooters on this Purdue team to the free throw line. And an opportunity for Purdue to slow down this momentum that Indiana was able to build up over those last two offensive possessions.
First freebies of the day. The first goes from Braden Smith, an 84% shooter from the stripe, as some wholesale subs coming in for the Boilers as they bring in Will Berg and Camden Heide. That'll be in the place of Kaufman Wren and first. The second is good from Smith. That's been troubles for Purdue in this losing streak. They've not gotten to the line very often. 11-8 Indiana, 14:44 to go. Hoosier basketball here on the left wing with Galloway. Finds Goody inside the arc, goes out to Ballo, who's entered for the Hoosiers. Sets a screen. Galloway uses it on the elbow. Kick out towards Rice at the top of the key. Still probing, 7 on the shot clock. He feeds it into Ballo, backing down Berg, and he is fouled. That was almost a spike of the ball from Ballo rather than a shot attempt, and he'll go to the line.
Yeah, he tried to go up and, got the arm and tried to slap the ball down instead of going into his jump hook, so obviously there was a lot of contact. And now you have Umar Ballo going to the line, who isn't terrific from the free throw line, although a lot better than he used to be, and trying to extend this lead for Indiana.
The free throw percentage starts with a 5 for reference. He goes up and off the iron and out with the first. 59% overall from Umar Ballo, who works off the bench for the second time this season. Has played in 25 of the 26 ball games. The left-handed free throw shot rims out again, so 0 for 2 from Ballo. 11-8 Indiana, 14-15 here in half number 1. Braden Smith surveying at the top of the key. Looks to get company from Jakari Harris, who's entered. Instead goes right back to Smith, and an offensive foul against Will Berg.
That looked like he just shifted his hips out a little bit on that screen up at the top. And a good job by Anthony Leal of taking the contact. It's exactly right, moves right into it. That's a toughness play right there for Anthony Leal.
The red-headed Swede did not feature last time in Mackey. He stands in the paint right now. Galloway on the left wing, goes into Ballo against Berg. Handoff, goes in, little floater, lob and jam!
Well, there's your energy play right there, Alex. Umar Ballo getting up off the ground a little bit. Now the crowd's going to start getting into it right now as well.
Umar Ballo says hello. And this crowd echoes. Smith, top of the key, guarded by Leal. Takes a screen from Berg, working baseline. Under the hoop, kicks out to the corner. Harris for 3, short, taken away by Rice, and fights through contact to hold on to the basketball. Across through Leal. 3-ball, Goody. No, that one's off the side and out. And Lawyer with the rebound. Fast-paced offense. Here's Smith probing in with the right, rejected by Ballo. And it will stay Purdue basketball. Rice tried his best to save it. But Umar Ballo, that'll play at Wilkinson.